Please welcome to the stage Team Origin. My first question is actually going to be for the audience. Audience, are you excited to see more?
Yeah.
Congratulations on the series, everyone. Richard, I wanted to start with you. I'd love to hear about, not to use a pun, but the origin of this series.
So during the pandemic, everything had slowed down for most of us, and I was home with my friend Fisher Stevens, as some of you may know. He's in Succession. He directed Beckham, and we heard that the NBA was launching a league in Africa. And immediately we thought this was an interesting idea to explore, and we did some research and found out what this was about. And we found out about Amadou, and we found out about Messiah, and we found out about the underlying vision. And then we also found out that this first season was going to take place in a bubble in one place. So it occurred to us that you'd have 12 teams from 12 countries together, and you'd really be able to, if you'd film that, you'd be able to represent the whole continent of Africa and all the differences. And these players from each country are coming from completely different realities, and we thought if we could film that, that would be the beginning of something. And fortunately, I went to talk to Andreas Grossati, who's here from Fremantle, and he liked the vision, and he supported us from the get-go. And 2 weeks later, we were in Kigali with Tabs and visiting these guys, and we started. And then we ended up shooting for 2 years because the story kept evolving, as you'll see in further episodes. So that's the beginning.
Amadou, my next question's for you. What led you to your decision to leave your position at the Dallas Mavericks to return to Africa to embark on a journey to develop basketball on the continent?
We all want to, belong to something special, right? And for us, Africa has always been special. So it was about the opportunity I was afforded at the Mavs to, be part of the journey, really to be part of building a team that was at the time probably one of the, the bottom of, the NBA, to have the chance to really see how this process worked in terms of building a team, bringing in talent and the level of organization, and just energizing a city in Dallas. I was there when we played at Reunion Arena, then moved to downtown, building American Airlines Center. We were there when Ross Perot owned the team, then Mark Cuban bought it, and I saw the energy that brought, and all the transformation and what it meant to the city. For us, it was about how can we continue to, have an impact in Africa. And my overarching goal and ambition have always to be about how can we contribute in the efforts towards socioeconomic development in Africa. It was great, 12 years in Dallas, like I said, learned a lot, met great people. Along the way, every time you travel around the world, and Masai can attest to this, whether you are in Argentina at the time, because they had a very strong system in terms of talent development. You go to Serbia, you go to Lithuania, you're in France at INSETs, and you see how they grow talent. At the end of the day, it's about the talent, and we knew that the talent in Africa that we had didn't exist anywhere. So it was about how can I, when we started Basketball Without Borders, we go every year, and for a week touch some young people from different countries through a camp where we bring some of the best basketball minds in the NBA to come and teach some of the players, to also inspire. But it was just 5 days to a week. And we all live always frustrated that, you know, okay, now until next year, then what happened to all these young people that we came across? So it was about the opportunity to now be there, you know, have boots on the ground when the NBA decided to, you know, expand. At the time, the global expansion, the NBA opened office all over the world. We wanted to, that's what Adam was referring to. We wanted to make sure that globalization did not bypass Africa, and we had something, you know, that I think we could do to influence that. This is why when the NBA decided in 2010 to open an office and they called me up from Dallas, I didn't hesitate. I literally moved there in my suitcases because we knew that we had an opportunity to do something really big.
And Masai, jumping off of that question, actually, I wanted to know, what was the process in terms of convincing the NBA to back the BAL? As you say in the series, it's an audacious experiment with a lot of variables.
Yes. Where were you? I was wondering where my boy was. It takes a lot of work, you know. In Africa, we've had a long way to go, and sometimes the belief, you know, in what we do. People don't know the continent as well. Some people don't even know it's a continent. Some people think Africa is a country, which is crazy. But it's the talent. It's at some point, you know, like we were all thinking about this, and there's so much talent over there. I wasn't joking when I said there's a million Joachims, there's a million LeBrons. They're walking around, but we just haven't played the game because nobody has given them infrastructure. The reason why soccer is so big, and the reason why African players are everywhere in soccer and football is because it's two stones we all put on one side of our backyards, you know, like, and just started playing as soon as we came out of our mom's wombs. So it's easy to develop more than basketball, where you need a goal and facilities. So convincing the NBA was us grinding every day, and really, and there's a whole lot of people in here that have helped us with that work, but it takes a lot, and this really helps with what Richard has done and all of you are doing here, and even you guys supporting, because some people still think Africa is about safaris and kid crying, you know, like, and we need $1 for charity, and yeah, that's not what we're doing anymore. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we're investing in Africa. Yeah, so we had to be forceful, but we also needed visionaries, and one of the visionaries is Adam Silver, and a lot of Mark Tatum. These guys gave us some platform to really believe in what we're doing, and that's how it started.
And just another question for you, Masai. What did it feel like premiering this particular series in Toronto?
Yeah, you know, this is special. This is truly cool. This is my second movie here with Giants of Africa, and then Origin, this documentary. This is something, you know. It's more special than anything, you know, like for me, because in our mission, in our lives, you know, this is where it's going. I know what the continent of Africa is. 1 out of every 4 people in the world by 2050 will be from Africa. The median age in Africa is 20 years old. Yeah. So not one person is going to come and tell me how to do my job, but I'm going to tell how we do the big job on the continent. Yeah, that's where the big job is, because I grew up there, I grew up on this continent, and the promise on this continent. You can see it everywhere. Afro beats, everything you look at is booming, is rising, there is hope, and we have to give the youth that sense of belief that it can be done. You know, last thing I'll say is when I look at that documentary, I was just telling my wife, you know, like, it doesn't even, yeah, this is so great what is being shown here, because 3 months ago, we were at the BAO finals. That place is crazy. The fans everywhere. The gyms are full. We just had Giants of Africa Festival. Everybody's going crazy on the continent. It doesn't even almost, it tells the great story, but it's even, that's 5 years ago. It's moved. That's why it's good for people to actually see this and how much it's moved.
Joachim, my next question's for you. The series shows that there's a bridge between Africa and the US created by the BAL, and that bridge is bi-directional. So how are you seeing diaspora players using the BAL to connect with their roots?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Richard. I mean, this is such a beautiful documentary. I was there with you from the beginning. I mean, I cried like twice just in the first episode. You know, Amadou, Masai, like, thank you guys for just leading the way. So inspired. I'm a retired basketball player, and this journey has given me so much purpose. You know, I never lived on the continent, but my grandfather's from Cameroon. I was a privileged kid whose father played tennis and whose grandfather was a soccer player, and my grandpa used to always tell me, he rest in peace, but he used to always tell me, I know where I'm from, so I know who I am. And you know, it's words that are very deep to me. So when I had an opportunity to invest in this league, I didn't ask any more questions. It wasn't about, you know, when I was going to get my return or anything like that. It was something that I knew that was going to be bigger than that. I'm just so proud to be a part of this, and I know I try to play my role as good as possible, and something that I'm most proud is bringing people who've never been on the continent before, and this platform, this basketball platform, just allows me to go to the continent and just learn so much about the different cultures in the continent, and I'm so proud of that.
Joachim, this series is such a showcase of the diversity within the continent and the league. What do you hope viewers take away from watching this series?
Well, firstly, just want to thank everybody for coming out. Give a big round of applause for yourselves. Toronto, what's up? And I'll get to the question. And also another shout out to Masai and Amadou, Joachim, just for everything you guys have done. Just salute. Richard and Taboko. I hope like I could hear everyone here laughing, you know, all those images. And as somebody who is a fanatic about basketball, it's just an opportunity, and Masai touched on it, Amadou's touched on it. It's just, we love the game and what the game can do. And we have all grown up with images from all over the world. And what this documentary does, it just shows you another place where, like Masai said, you know, the finals 3 months ago, yeah, you wouldn't believe it. But we believe it because we've always known, you know. So I hope that the energy that everyone took here, you can take out and spread the word when the show comes out on ESPN. Not only that, start watching the BAL games, you know, and when the season
Bell in
starts,
Canada, ESPN in US.
there you go, ESPN, yes, Bell in Canada. And then you continue to watch the games and support. And also, you know, this year one of the players from the BAL was selected to the NBA. Come on, yes, and he's not a 10th pick, playing for the Phoenix Suns. So the vision they're talking about is already happening, and so I hope that this energy that we got here in this premiere, you've given this, you've opened up this film to the world. Let's take that energy and continue to pump it out.
Love it. Taboko, question for you. Can you talk about some of the challenges you and Richard faced while making the series? This can't be as easy as it looks.
That's a long answer.
Yeah, how long do you have? Firstly, it's my first time at TIFF. You guys have the best festival in the world, by a long shot. So thank you. Having a good time. First time in Canada also, so thank you. Like Richard said, I think the first thing to go is we need the stories, right? So how do we get the stories, right? A lot of the talent that's featured, they don't have any internet presence, right? And so the first thing to do was jump on a flight, go to Mozambique, go find the players, the coaches, then go to Angola, then go. So we went to like all these countries during a pandemic, which was probably the biggest challenge. Testing twice a day with a small crew, a crew of less than 5 people. So most of that footage you saw from the different countries, it was literally myself, a cameraman, a soundman, and on the floor producer, John Day. Yeah. So it was really like just capturing the stuff was the limitation of COVID was hard. What are the stories? You can't really research them online, so you have to find them on the ground. And then of course 12 different countries, and then doing the shoot inside the bubble. We were inside the bubble. Richard was outside the bubble, so he'd be there by the corner shooting, and there'll be like a line here can't cross, and so it was quite everything technically to tell the story was very, very difficult. But once we found the stories and we got them, I think everything else became smoother after the fact because we knew what the gaps were and then what else needed to be captured to complete the story.
Well, congratulations again. I have one more question for everyone up here, but think of yours because I'm coming to the audience next. My last question is who had President Obama on speed dial who could call him to be in this?
I can answer this. So I was in Rwanda, second day, and I met Masai at the hotel, and we started talking and about all kinds of things. And at some point, Masai asked me who I would most like to interview for the series, and I said, sort of almost jokingly, President Obama. And the next thing I know, I saw Masai make a phone call. I don't know if it was this simple, but it seemed to be. And, you know, he came back and he said, you know, we're going to DC to interview Obama next month. And we did. And so Masai is the answer to that question. It was very clear to me that Masai can make things happen. So then I asked him to be an executive producer on the series, and thankfully he said yes. So here we are. It's also worth pointing out that it's a little bit frustrating watching this now because obviously the COVID restriction on audience attendance makes it look, you know, quite strange that there's not many fans there. It's not the case now, as these guys said. It's the games are obviously packed, but we felt an amazing energy even with the audiences. It started at 10%, and by the end of the tournament it was 50%. But even with limited attendance, we felt this extraordinary energy of something happening. And, you know, I hope that comes across a little bit.
All right, I'm going to go to the audience for a couple of questions. I see a hand right here.
For the filmmakers, when you're telling a story that is still going on years and years later, how do you decide when to stop?
So just so everyone heard the question, question for the filmmakers, when you're working on a documentary that is kind of an ongoing story, how do you determine where to stop?
I mean, Taboho and Akin and I all come from scripted, from making scripted movies and TV shows. So it was a little bit of an unfamiliar process to me, but it turns out to be our best friend is the fact that when you're making a documentary, you can shoot, like we shot in Rwanda, we shot all the stuff we could around the continent, we went and started editing. And while editing, you start to figure out what the story is. You start to write the stories in the edit. And when you realize that you don't have something, you can go get it. You can go film it, you can go do that interview or find something in the archive. And this can be an endless process, and was, which is why it took so long. But it's a real gift, because obviously when you shoot a scripted movie or a scripted TV show, you only have the footage that you have to work with. So, you know, the answer to when, you know, you're finished is when you have something that you think is good or when the money runs out. And in this case, it was a bit of both.
Another question. I see a question right here.
I really love the cinematic shots of the games, like, you know, Warner versus TV shot versus
just to repeat the question, it was a great observation on the energy of the games and how those games were shot, and wanting to know what the approach was.
Yeah, inside, when all that footage you see, we had 2 camera operators on the floor, literally on the side of the floor. I had 2 monitors with like talkback system. And so the idea would be talking to the operators to follow this player, follow that player. We didn't necessarily film it like for like broadcast. We wanted to be inside. We wanted to be intimate with their reaction, with their emotions and stuff. So I'm glad that came through. But we were literally on the floor. We couldn't be like up on the bleachers. And so I guess that was a blessing in disguise, because then the cameras are right up there with the players and you felt like you were inside the moment.
Oh, all right. I can't see the back, so that is very helpful. I will go to the person standing up. I'm missing another hand up in the back.
Just a comment. First of all, thank you to the lady back there who was in Senegal and in South Africa. Thanks for the support. Yes, I think Dikembe mentioned like that was from year one. You know, just what is it going to be? 5 years. 5 years was this past year. You know, incredible milestone. We beat all the records in terms of attendance, sold out, playing in Morocco for the first time. And by the way, from the bubble, we played in Cairo, when we started playing in Senegal, then we expanded to South Africa, obviously with Rwanda with the finals, and then last year going to Morocco for the first time, seeing the consistency in terms of how the broadcasts look, you know, how the quality of the play on the floor is getting better every year is a testament of an incredible team that we were fortunate enough to build, a team of diverse people from all across Africa and the diaspora. So I want to, you know, just can't name them all, but again, recognize them. They're, you know, they've contributed to this, you know, from my colleagues, John Manuel Planch, who you heard on the film there on several occasions, who couldn't be here, but everybody in the BL and the NBA Africa family and the NBA who's helped make this happen. And we talked about Dikembe Mutombo, you know, at the end there, he was a driving force for everything that we've been able to achieve on the continent. This league is also meant to really speak to the global audience and the diaspora in particular. We are glad to see many people from around the world, you know, whether they're of African descent or not, coming to celebrate this incredible opportunity. As you talk about, you know, what you're doing here, growing grassroots, we already start setting up these links. Last year there was a showcase at the NBA Academy in Senegal, in Saly, Senegal, and there's a team that came actually from Canada, I think it's Dynasty. And then many years ago, you know, a good friend Roy Rana, who I believe is here, I think back in 2005, brought a team, a select team from here, Ontario, to come to Senegal and compete. This is what we want to continue to do, to really use this league as a platform to connect Africa and the rest of the world, particularly its diaspora. Thank you.
I think, can I say one more thing? I think starting small is there's nothing wrong with that. Just to encourage you, sometimes we have these big dreams, you know, and we don't know when to really start. You know, Yeah, that's why I think it's great to show those some of the footage of some of these camps and where they start, and while putting in. I know me and Amadou did almost the same thing. Is you put your bin in the middle of the locker room in the NBA, and guys throw shoes in there, and you take those shoes and you go do your camps, and I slept in this guy's room, on the couch and on the road in the hotel when my team, well, I couldn't be everywhere because we couldn't afford it, so I'd go to places where pay little money, stay in motels, or you have to fight through all of that, and sometimes it's seen as glamour that we're here, but we actually even still go through it to an extent. With this, you have to keep fighting through it, and you start to see those things get better and better, and your connections, your network, your people. You be good to people along the way. You always be good to people because it will always come back and really support you.
Well, on behalf of TIFF, on behalf of this audience, thank you for sharing your small and big dreams with us and making them a reality. It was an honor to sit down with you today, and let's give one last round of applause for Team Origin. And don't forget to vote for your favorite series.